Scotia is our Prime Minister. Thanks for joining me today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
It's a pleasure to be here, Riley.
And I think, so this is really great news for some Canadians. Others are kind of asking some questions. My question, I think a lot of Nova Scotians are eager to find out, is where is the money coming from for this program?
Well, we have put forward about $30+ billion in the federal budget in 2021 to sign historic child care agreements across the country that would bring the daily cost of child care down to $10 a day within 5 years, but immediately start dropping the price for child care for families right across the country. And that's what we were announcing today with Premier Houston, that as of April 1st, child care costs are going to drop by 25%, which will save families hundreds of dollars a month across the province. This is really good news. It'll be retroactive to the beginning of the year, and it shows just how child care makes a difference in terms of supporting families, affordability, but also getting people back into the workforce at a time when we're facing labor shortages.
Right, but where is this money coming from?
This is $30 billion of federal money, because we know that child care is actually one of those investments that means that kids are going to have a better start in school, that women and families are going to have better options and be able to rejoin the workforce, and it quite frankly means that small businesses and our economy is going to be able to benefit from more people coming in. So it's one of those investments that is smart, that is responsible, that is good both socially and economically, and that's why we ran on it in the last election. It was unfortunate to see the Conservative Party promising to rip up the child care deals, but fortunately we were able to keep moving forward, and quite frankly, to be able to work with Premier Houston on this is a real pleasure.
So it sounds a little bit like we're borrowing money, or maybe more money printing, thus lowering our buying power. So is this just inflation?
No, absolutely not. This is the kind of investment that actually makes a huge difference in our economy, in the well-being of families, in the opportunities for women. And quite frankly, the fact that Conservatives play silly partisan attacks on this and are misleading Canadians, and quite frankly promise to rip up these child care agreements that are going to mean hundreds of dollars a month for families across Nova Scotia, is yet another example of the fact that the Conservative Party is unfortunately completely missing the boat when it comes to actually supporting families and doing the right things to build a strong economy.
Will other programs like the child tax credit be retracted to pay for this? Because there is already subsidized daycare for low-income families.
I think, Riley, if you actually speak with families across Nova Scotia, you'll see that the challenges they're facing in terms of paying for child care, which rises to thousands of dollars a month for many families, accessing affordable spaces, or actually even making sure that there are quality early childhood educators there to support our kids. You'll see that most families are very, very happy that the governments have recognized that child care is unbelievably important as a contributor to a strong economy, as a way of supporting families, a way of making sure that our kids get the best possible start in life. And that is why we move forward. Now, unfortunately, Conservative politicians federally have continued to stand against it, but I was very pleased to see the Progressive Conservatives under Tim Houston move forward in supporting this child care agreement, and indeed implementing it even faster in a way that's going to help families. Unfortunately, at the federal level, Conservative politicians just don't get that and continue to try and mislead Canadians, and apparently mislead journalists a little bit too.
Just to clarify, though, the other programs won't be affected by this or retracted?
No, they will not.
So who exactly is this for? Will a family in a high-income bracket benefit the same as a family in a low-income bracket?
This is a universal child care system, because building a system that actually makes a difference for everyone, like we do with elementary and public schools. These are things that are accessible to everyone, because we're building strong institutions that serve all citizens, and that's a choice we made around national health care, and that's a choice we make around child care with this plan.
So a family who makes over $150,000 will be able to take advantage of this the same as someone maybe making under $30,000.
Actually, there are subsidies available for the lowest income families, so they will have more support. It'll be even less than $10 a day, depending on the provincial programs. But yes, this is an initiative that we made to make sure that we're creating a strong and robust system of childcare that is accessible to everyone. But there are things that we've done that are means tested. For example, the Canada Child Benefit that we brought forward in 2015 put an end to the conservative practice of sending child benefit checks to millionaire families, and instead sends hundreds of dollars a month to the families that need it most. That actually lifted hundreds of thousands of kids out of poverty across the country. So we're there to help the most vulnerable, we're there to support the middle class, and we're there to create opportunities for families right across the country to benefit.
Now, this program will take full effect in 2026. How long will the program be in effect for?
The program is built to be in effect for the future of the country, building a strong early learning and childcare system that supports families, that gets women into the workforce, that responds to the labor shortage and prepares all young kids to get the best start in school possible, is something that Canada is now going to have into the future. I guess it's possible that the federal Conservatives will continue the campaign against childcare and might get rid of it in some future iteration. But I don't think so. I don't think Canadians are going to stand for Conservatives who want to take away $10 a day childcare. But that's a conversation for a future election.
Mm-hmm. Who will be administering these funds?
This province runs early learning and childcare, and that's why we're happy to work with them with clear goals of $10 a day within 5 years, of reducing costs within the first year, which we're celebrating with an announcement today, and of supporting early childhood educators to have proper support, proper training, proper benefits. These sorts of things are going to make a huge difference, but it is the province that gets to administer their early learning and childcare system, because it works differently across the country.
And this will be rolled out across the country. So does that mean the federal government will be in charge of the curriculum?
There's no curriculum for early learning and childcare, and there's a provincial government licenses regulated spaces, and the federal government is there to make sure that those spaces are affordable. We have full confidence in the provinces that move forward. It's unfortunate, for example, that Ontario hasn't yet signed on to this early learning and childcare agreement, but all other provinces have, and in places like Nova Scotia, we're seeing already that it's making a huge difference for Canadians. As of April 1st, they'll be able to get hundreds of dollars back from the reduction in fees that is kicking in as of that moment.
And what happens if a province rejects the program?
Well, right now that hasn't happened. Even though the federal Conservatives have rejected the idea of $10 a day childcare, provinces, including progressive Conservative provinces like, obviously Premier Houston is a great example, but even Alberta and Saskatchewan and Manitoba have moved forward with early learning and childcare at $10 a day because of this agreement. It's something that this Liberal government federally has been able to bring in right across the country, and we remain hopeful that Ontario will sign on as well in the coming months.
Well, that's great, Mr. Trudeau. I appreciate your time. I don't have any more questions about this specific program, but thank you for joining me here on Seaside-FM.
It's a real pleasure to be speaking with Nova Scotians about the really big impact we're making in their lives to make things better for families and support people right across the country. Thank you, Riley.
Awesome. You have a great day.
You too.
105.9 Seaside-FM.